Hey, in this session, we want to talk a little bit about what leadership is. And what we're going to talk about in this session is based on the book, The Leadership Challenge by Kouzes and Posner. One of the best books out on leadership, in particular because it's research-based. And Kouzes and Posner went out and started to do their research by interviewing literally thousands of people across the entire world and asked them this question: who would you follow? What types of characteristics would a leader have to have in order for you to follow? And here were the top 4 characteristics that came out of their research. Number 1, someone who had integrity. They had to have some kind of character or stability, consistency with who they were that people would be able to trust, because trust is an essential ingredient in leadership. And after integrity, they said forward thinking. They had to have some ability to see into the future, to have a direction, somewhere where we were headed. That was very important to people. Also, competence. They had to have some level of competence. The skill sets required, the actual ability needed to move people in that direction. And then lastly, inspirational. And by inspirational, they didn't necessarily mean a rah-rah cheerleader, but they did mean some basic positive attitude, a positive outlook on life, so that when you were around them, you felt uplifted. So those are what people were looking for, and this is who they would follow. Well, the next question that Kouzes and Posner asked was, if that's who you would follow, then what do leaders actually do? What do leaders actually do? And they came up with 5 leadership practices that I have here on the paper, as well as you have on this card right here. And the first practice that we see here is modeling the way. Modeling the way. For a leader, it's so important that it comes from the inside out, and that other people don't just hear you talking about your leadership, but they actually see you being a positive model in that direction. Secondly, inspiring a shared vision. This is important because there's both inspiration, meaning that people are uplifted, but secondly, that it's shared. It's not just one leader's idea, but that it's the collective direction that the people really believe they ought to go. Third, challenge the process. This means that the status quo is no longer acceptable. They say that the idea of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. And as a leader, you have to have the courage to challenge the process when it's not getting you in the direction that the group needs to go. Fourthly, enable others to act. This is so important because as a leader, you primarily lead through other people. Other people are going to be the ones moving the ball forward, and your job as a leader is to equip, to recognize them, and enable them to act. Lastly, encourage the heart. Also so important, and probably one of the least practiced actions of a leader is taking the time to recognize the contributions of others and to celebrate their accomplishment, to give them the encouragement they need to continue to fuel their fire so that you can move together as a team. That is what the leadership practice are all about, coming from this book, The Leadership Challenge, and we hope that you will continue to grow as we explore these 5 leadership practices even more.